Today we're talking about square roots. The square root, when you talk about the square root, you're talking about the area of a square. The area of the square is 25, which means the sides are 5 and 5. So if you take the square root of 25, that equals 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. Let's do another example. If you have a square that's 4 and 4, the area is 16. So the square root of 16 equals 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. If we have another one, the sides are 2, so the area, 2 times 2 is 4. So we can say the square root of 4 is 2, because 2 times 2 equals 4. And if we remember Granny's perfect square root gardening, a perfect square is always a whole number. So anytime you have a square that comes a whole number, that's a perfect square. So the square root of 81 would be, yes, 9, because 9 times 9 is 81. The square root of 49 is 7, because 7 times 7 is 49. Now, if we had the square root of 20, well, the square root of 20 is not a perfect square. So if it's not a perfect square, it's an irrational number. So you can have a whole number, perfect square, or you can have an irrational number for a non-perfect square. So let's look at the square root of 20. Well, we know that 4 times 4 is 16, so we know it's higher than 4, and we know that 5 times 5 is 25. So I would estimate that the square root of 20 is about, we'll say 4.5. So again, square roots, you talk about the area of a square root. The area of a square is the side times the side. So 5 times 5 is 25. So basically the square root is you're taking the square root of 25, which equals 5. It's always one number times itself equals what the square root is. So if you take the square root, it's whatever number times itself equals the number that's in the square root. Again, a perfect square is always a whole number. Not a perfect square is always an irrational number.